What if I told you the person you are today is a lie? No, not your name, not your face, but the story you tell yourself. Because that story is built on habits, and habits can be destroyed. I want you to think of somebody who you describe as charismatic, confident, someone who just walked in and felt like they owned the room. And I want you to ask yourself, were they always this person, or did they become it? Because here's the thing nobody tells you about identity, right? Identity isn't something that you create, it's something that gets built over time. And most of the time, you aren't the architect. That story running in the background of your mind about who you are and what you're capable of, you didn't write that story, you inherited it from rooms you were placed in before you were old enough to choose them. And the question I want to ask you today is this: if you didn't write that story, what's stopping you from rewriting it? I was 14 when I first moved to India. It was because of my dad. He had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for us to move from India to Sweden. My dad, deeply disciplined, the kind of man who commanded respect in every room he walked into. I grew up proud of that, proud of where I came from, the beautiful land of India. And I still remember my first day in this Swedish high school. And for context, guys, before this, I just moved around in India, never been outside of India. And the schools that I went to didn't have laptops, let alone MacBooks. Here, every single kid had MacBooks. There were kids from 15 different countries in my class. And it honestly felt like I was in a movie. And then I looked even closer. These kids in my class, they didn't just look like they come from money. They looked like they had a personal stylist. Designer clothes, Sambas, Nike shoes, AirPod Maxes around their neck like a necklace. I mean, they had it all going for them. And then there was me. I mean, I didn't have all of that, but what I did have was others. Yep. Which is all right. Like, it's not a big deal, right? Like, it's okay. I didn't have the most suited AirPod Maxes around my neck, but I was fine. But then something shifted. Something very small shifted over a small period of time. Not anger, not resentment, not hatred towards any of these kids, but it just felt like these kids were better. Better background, better clothes, more established, more polished. It just felt like they belonged to a world where I hadn't earned an entry ticket into yet. That's an inferiority complex. I didn't have a name for it just yet. I just felt it. Now, what I didn't expect was that this feeling that I had within me would quickly get reflected back by the room itself. Within days, without anyone sitting me down, I knew exactly what the room thought about me. Not based on anything I'd said or done, just based on the fact that I was new, I was different, I didn't fit the typical international school kid type. Here's the thing about being placed in the wrong room at 14, right? You don't fight it, you absorb it. When the same assumption about you kept getting reflected back at you, loud enough, for long enough, it stops feeling like other people's opinion, and it starts feeling like a fact. I arrived in Stockholm, being proud of where I was from. But as time went on, I slowly stopped bringing it up, stopped mentioning it, stopped defending it. Not because I was ashamed of where I was from, but it just felt like the room made it feel like a bigger deal than it was actually worth. And I still remember standing in school cafeteria, tray in hand, looking around, paralyzed. Not by anything scary, but by the simple act of finding somewhere to sit. Every table felt like a closed group. Every seat felt like it was taken by someone else. And it sounds small, but when that's your day-to-day, when every day trying to get lunch is an act you need to mentally rehearse, it speaks volumes about how badly the room has gotten inside your head. Now, here's the thing about all of this, right? What happened to me wasn't special or unique. What happened to me is something that happens to all of us. All of us have been in rooms where a version of us was decided before we even got the chance to speak. workplaces, offices, buildings. And the reality is, most of us are still living inside that version. Not because it's true, but because the room keeps reflecting it back. Psychologist Carl Rogers calls this your self-concept, a set of beliefs a person holds about themselves. And the thing about self-concept is, your self-concept doesn't come from within you. It comes from people around you and the environments you're in. It's like a feedback loop. Think about Spotify Wrapped, right? Every year, it tells you who you are that year. And it tells you your top songs, your top artists, and the soundtrack of your last 12 months, right? And every year, it's slightly different. I mean, last year you could have been this guy, fighting demons in the gym. And apparently, this year, you're a white girl in a sorority listening to Taylor Swift. I mean, it changes day to day, it changes year to year, and we don't think much of it, right? Because here's the thing about this, right? This whole Spotify thing, it gets changed over time, it evolves. And we don't think much of it because we understand it's just taste. And what I'm trying to say is, your identity is not who you are, it's where you are, right? So it changes with time, it changes with environments. And it changes with environments because it evolves over time, right? And that's not identity being fake. That's just it responding to what it was supposed to do. It's responding to your environment. And I argue, since we're at a finance university, it's very easy to become the same person with the same Patagonia vest and the same internships and the same jobs working at Wall Street. The question is whether you chose this life or you let it choose you. But this whole identity thing, it's not overblown. It's backed up by receipts. And for that, we need to understand the Pygmalion effect. In 1960s, two psychologists went to an elementary school and they identified students who were the most high-performing students in the class, and they reported that to the teachers. But the thing about this is, right, these students, they were selected at random. The teachers didn't know they were selected at random though. And by the end of the year, these students who were selected at random as high-performing ended up outperforming all their peers. Why is that, guys? The reason for that is quite simple. Because the teachers started reflecting these students with more belief, more positivity, more encouragement, and more words of kindness. And the students responded to that version by becoming it. Now let's flip that around. What happens when the room doesn't place strong expectations of you, but limits you? What happens when the room has preconceived notions selected about you, right? Because it can truly limit your development. But it just keeps bringing back to the same question again and again and again. Have you ever actually chosen your room, or have you been letting the room choose you? Because after years of trying to fit into a room I didn't belong to, I moved back. I moved back from Sweden to India. And something happened that I didn't expect. In India, nobody knew me. Nobody had preconceived notions of me. Which meant that in India, I was just a normal person. And people treated me like one. And for the first time, the room started reflecting a different version of me back. A version with more openness, more kindness, more enthusiasm, more friendliness. And some of these people even looked up to me. And because they did, I started believing in that version of myself too. And what surprised me most wasn't the confidence that I gained through these experiences and through this positive feedback loop. What surprised me the most was the fact that I started taking ownership of where I was from again. Not because anything changed about where I was from, but because this room didn't make it feel like a problem. And then something happened, something I hoped for every day. An acceptance letter to SSE, and a chance to come back to Sweden again. Same city, same place, but a chance to start with a new slate. And so I went back to Stockholm. And this is what I wanted to include because this is a picture of me getting dropped off at the airport by my parents. And it wouldn't be possible to be here without them. And I wanted to show my due appreciation towards them. But it speaks volume to my journey as well. Because for me, leaving this environment where I was in India, and going back again to the same place where I had these preconceived notions set about myself, it was again a challenge. It was again an obstacle which I had to overcome. But what I'm trying to say is, through all of this, there have been people who have stuck by me, and that's my family. And I just wanted to appraise them, and that's why they're there. But what happened to me was the fact that I gained so much confidence. And the person I went back as in Stockholm was not the same person who I left as. I was a different person. Not because I followed some CEO morning routines or affirmations, but because of the simple fact that I changed rooms. And this room allowed me to show up as the full version of myself, the one which had previously been suppressed. So how do you change this for yourself? Number one, audit your self-talk. For just one day, I want you to notice what you say. Because every word that comes out of your mind is subconsciously reprogramming who you are. So all the preconceived notions and limits you have about yourself. Oh, I'm not this type of person. I can't do this. I can't do that. What if those are just instructing you to stay stuck in that version? What if those are limits you're placing on yourself? Think about it. Number two, we've all heard the phrase, fake it till you make it. But what you don't understand is that before success comes faking it. Every successful and charismatic person you know had to perform before it became reality. So what you call fake is just rehearsal. And be fine with faking it till you actually make it. Number three, choose your rooms deliberately. And by rooms, I just don't mean physical ones, but also social ones, right? Because the people you spend time with and the conversations you let define you are subconsciously going to shape your reality. So be very conscious of the rooms that you're in and be in control of where you are. We spend our whole lives trying to change ourselves. New habits, new routines, new resolution, new year, new me. But have you ever thought about everything that's shaping it? Not our outputs, but our inputs, our environment. Because once you start controlling the room that you're in, you realize that there's so much more that needs to be done. So the question I want to ask you today is not how I can be a better person, how can I improve myself. The question I want to ask you today is this: which rooms have been building you? And have you ever actually consciously chosen the room that you're in? Because once you start choosing the rooms that you're in, you stop being a product of its environment, but you start being its architect. And that's when the magic happens. You're not who you think you are. You're who you decide you can be. So choose where you go next. Thank you.